What's going on? This is Patty with KHTS, and we are joined live with Cardon Ellis of Unipest Pest Control. Mr. Cardon, how you doing, sir?
I'm well.
I'm well?
And I'm trying to say I'm well, not I'm good.
Right.
My mother was an elementary school teacher for Saugus Unified School District for like 30 years.
Ah,
And so I just, I don't want to let her down.
right.
So I am well.
I am well. Well, you know what? I am well as well. So
Yeah.
we're going with, there's too many wells in these sentences, but
Yeah.
either way, Cardon, thanks for coming by right now. Cardon, I got a couple questions for you. One of them,
Hit me.
the big one right now is, so last Saturday, I was hiking in some open space,
Okay.
and I saw some fire ants
Wait, which open space?
in just like a little hiking trail, like up in the mountains.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like by Central Park. and
Yeah.
all that stuff? Okay,
that
cool,
exact
sweet.
same one, actually.
I was thought like in one of those like, I don't know, empty lots on Main Street across from the radio station or something. Okay. You were
No.
hiking the walk or open space or the stuff by Central Park. Okay.
Yeah,
rock on,
by the
gotcha.
dog park. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
And I saw some fire ants. Aren't those really dangerous? Like I saw like a whole lot of them too.
Oh, okay. Were they big red ants?
Yes.
And they like pretty gnarly?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Want the good news or the bad news?
Hit me with the good news first, please.
Okay, the good news is those specific ants you saw
Mm-hmm.
probably and statistically were actually not fire ants.
Oh, really?
But we do have a consistently growing amount of reports from professionals of the real fire ants you have to worry about. Okay, so the good news is those ones probably weren't fire ants.
Okay.
Fire ants are very misidentified. We're all totally afraid of. It's just like you notice now how when anybody gets a sniffle, everybody's convinced they got the Rona,
Right.
and they forget there's other diseases out there.
Yes,
You know what I'm
yes,
saying?
right.
There's plenty of other respiratory illnesses you can get, right?
Yes.
Well, everybody when they see red ants, especially menacing looking ones that
Right.
are pretty fast, okay, they'll go online and they'll see fire ants. And I mean, most of these ant species, unless you have literally a magnifying glass and you can count the nodes on their backs and how many hairs they have coming out of their abdomen and stuff, you're not going to be able to tell if they're red ants or fire ants. And I'd say 99.9% of the red ants that you find in a lot of these open spaces or in people's houses are red ants,
Oh,
not
okay.
fire ants. Okay, now with that said, there are other pest control operators and people that work for different departments
Uh-huh.
in the state government that track, entomology, biology, ecology, so on and so forth,
Oh, right.
that have told me they have legitimately found the fire ants, like the fire ants that exist in Texas. Because
Ooh.
most of the, quote, fire ants that we have in the United States are kind of in the South around Texas and in Arizona and those deserty areas.
Right.
And yes, to answer your question, they are super dangerous. There's these heartbreaking stories where people have had fire ants that have found like toddlers in cribs and like actually attacked them so badly. It's just like getting attacked by a beehive. You know what I'm saying? You get
Yeah.
stung by too many bees, it'll kill a human. People don't realize that in North America, the most dangerous animal is actually the bee. You can add all of the shark attacks, the deer attacks, the dog bites, the cougar attacks, the getting mauled by a bear, add those all up, and they don't equal the amount of people that have been killed by bees,
Oh, my.
because they just sting you a bunch. Well, fire ants kind of do the exact same thing. They'll make their way into a house, one of those trails, and instead of finding the breadcrumbs that you left on the floor, instead of finding the piece of chicken that didn't make it in the trash can, they can find an elderly person or a vulnerable child. And like, there's been these heartbreaking stories, right?
Oh.
So anyway, that's the bad news, is that they do exist, and some people have reported seeing them in Southern California, but it's still very, very rare. Okay. And our ecology here is not as conducive to fire ants.
Right.
So chances are it's most likely red ants.
Okay.
And red ants, dude, they're not like they're endangered or anything, and you can just get rid of them. And they exist all over the chaparral that surrounds Santa Clarita. And yeah, if you go hiking in these trails, you're probably going to see a ton of red ants, black ants. In our houses, they get Argentine ants. In the hospitals and some of the commercial buildings around here, you can get pharaoh ants, thief ants, all kinds of different ants, right?
Right.
But they're most likely not fire ants, and they're probably pretty easy to take care of. With that said, Some of them bite. I've been bit by some of these ants.
Yeah.
Like carpenter ants and harvester ants, when they bite, it hurts.
Yeah.
In fact, not ancient, but Indians, not just in South America, but in North America, would use ants to clear out flesh and wounds.
Huh.
If you had a big, deep cut and a laceration, they'd put a bunch of ants on it, and their teeth would clamp the wound shut, just like stitches.
Oh my goodness.
It's like, you know how surgeons will staple somebody shut?
Yes.
They'll squeeze it together and they'll staple the wound shut. I've seen pictures of Indian tribes that use the large heads of the ants to cling together the wound, and then they tear off the body, and then the mandibles keep the wound shut, just like a stitch or a staple.
That's so cool.
Yeah, isn't that
That's
gnarly?
Fascinating. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh
Wow,
my
you got
goodness.
more than you bargained for when you asked about fire ants there, huh? We talked about bees.
And,
We talked about
and then the magical surgical powers of
the
ants.
surgical power of tropical ants. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Well, that's
So
fascinating.
next time
stuff.
you and Bear Grylls are out there and you get a scratch on your kneecap, just find some ants and rip off their heads and use them as stitches.
I'll be like, I know a guy. He told me this. It's an old wives' tale, but it works.
Yeah, dude, for real. That's funny. Yeah. So chances are it wasn't fire ants, but if it were, dude, call us, man.
Yeah.
Because that's some dangerous stuff right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I've heard.
You know
I've
how
heard
you
the
kill
ghost
'em?
stories. How do you kill them?
You actually rod their hive.
Ooh.
Yeah. Have you ever seen like those artists online that will take molten aluminum?
Yes.
Like the melt aluminum can.
Yes, that's
And then
exactly.
they'll pour it into an ant hive, and then they
Mhm.
dig it out, and you get this really cool sculpture.
The
Almost,
intricate system of it. Yeah.
of the intricate system of ants. Yeah, exactly. Well, we do something a little bit similar, but we take this big long rod
Mm-hmm.
that you can shove into the ground, and you have to do it fast
Right.
because they go nuts.
Yes.
All right. You take this rod and then you just shove it into the ground, basically as far as it'll go, because the ants do most of the excavation for you. Okay.
Right.
But yeah, you shove it into there, and then you inject the hive with whatever product we're using that month. You know what I'm saying? There's a couple
Ooh-wee.
that work better than others, but then you just inject the hive, and they come out screaming and all angry at you. And then you literally take out the injection rod and you just step back like 10 feet, and then wipe off whatever's on that rod, and then let the product do its thing.
Wow.
But yeah, it's pretty gnarly, man.
I thought you were gonna be like, all right, you just take that out and just run, book
Yeah.
it. I was about to be
Well,
like,
fortunately, they're not so fast. They go, but dude, you'll accidentally step on them sometimes.
oof. Yeah. No.
It's worse in Florida.
Yeah.
I got family in Florida. If you accidentally step on some of those hives, it's murder, man.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
bet.
So that's it. So good thing we live in SoCal.
Exactly, right? Oh my goodness. Well, Cardon, I want to thank you for enlightening me on the difference between red ants and fire ants. And yeah, no, fire ants are much more potent. And I'm glad I know that. And also I can feel a lot more comfort in knowing that when I went hiking, it was just red ants, and I feel a lot better about that because now I'm not so like nervous going back to a hike. Not that I was, but
Yeah.
like I had a little like reservation, but I'm sure that kind of gives a sigh of relief to anyone else that's probably like thinking the same thing on that. And so I really, really want to thank you for all your amazing information. And I obviously you're a busy man, so you got to go. But Cardon, how do we reach you?
Oh, dude, just give me a call.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just 661-284-7575. That's actually like back in the day, like in the 90s when people had cool numbers.
Yeah.
That actually is 661-BUG-7575.
Oh, I love that. That's awesome.
Pretty awesome, huh?
Yeah, that's
So yeah,
pretty cool.
661-284-7575. And you ask for me and my dad.
Yeah, for sure. Well,
Yeah.
gladly we will.
Yeah.
Cardon, I want to thank you again. For more information on Cardon Ellis, you can reach him at his number there, or you can go to www.unipest.com if you want to search him up. It's good stuff. And if you have any more information, or if you need any more information on KHTS, check us out on our Facebook page. Go to our hometownstation.com for our internet. And if you want to listen to us on our radio station, we are at 98.1 FM, AM 1220, KHTS.